Here's Johnny.
I'll be back.
And you will know my name is the Lord.
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Groovy.
Welcome, boils and ghouls, to another spooktacular box office pulp. If the bad puns weren't clue enough, tonight we've got a topic near and dear to our cold, dead hearts. Halloween and horror. That's right, it's only September, but it's the perfect time to turn on Dracula and have a steaming cup of apple cider. I'm your host, Flexo, and joining me tonight are three other halves of my horse costume. We've got Alex, Mad Butcher Cook. Everyone, say hello to MB. Good job.
Why apple cider?
It's delicious, don't argue.
Okay.
I
wasn't arguing.
respect that.
I was inquiring.
That's you don't celebrate fall with apple cider? What are you, a monster?
I mean,
Yeah, fair enough. All right.
I am a mad butcher.
Yeah. Oh. Anyways, next up, James Jeepers Creepers Lewis. No song. I was really hoping for a song, like a sad rendition. Oh well, over the credits or something. And,
She was good.
and lastly, Mike Zero Chance of Survival Napier.
I'm black.
Well, congratulations,
So he
you
dies
won the podcast.
Credits.
His joke beat mine. I gotta give it to him. That was a good one.
Subscribe to our show on iTunes.
Please send your hate mail to Box Office
Flexo
Pulp hates my
at
ethnicity
gmail.
at. All right, gentlemen. I think it's safe to assume that we all have a fair amount of Halloween traditions, or at the very least some love for Halloween. Not just the movie, but the season. MB, from what I've been told, you have a crippling addiction to candy corn. Mike, you refuse to have sex in October unless you're dressed up like Jack Nicholson and Wolf. And James has the Great Pumpkin tattooed to his inner thigh. So, I mean, that's a pretty good start.
Hey, he's
Actually,
coming.
I think you mixed us up. It's me who has the Great Pumpkin tattooed to my outer thigh,
Okay.
and James is the one with the crippling peanut butter cup addiction.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
cool.
keep thinking it's going to be good whenever I eat it, but it never is.
Candy corn. It's like an illusion.
Did you ever go through literally a week-long phase where, man, candy corn's good?
I think everybody does.
Like,
Then you
the
It's like
moment where
meth
you tell
addiction.
yourself-
You just keep chasing that first high.
I think it's kind of like Stockholm Syndrome. Like, it's always around during the fall, and eventually you go, okay, well, if everyone else has it, it has to be alright.
What is that shit made out of?
You don't want it.
Just
I'm pretty sure
That's
wax.
just-
like sugar and orange paint? Like, that's it?
They have
It's
little people
weird.
painting them.
It's like mellow yellow. You assume that if it's around, somebody likes it, but nobody does.
And why is it like, let's make candy and shape it like corn?
And not only that, but it's a weird shaped corn.
Yeah, it's like something the Amish would do. Enjoy this candy corn. It's candy that looks like something that doesn't taste good.
I'm confused because they moved on from candy corn. It's like the marketers behind candy corn got together and said, all right, how do we get the kids back into this stuff? I know. We'll shape it like pumpkins. Candy pumpkins. But I'll taste the same. Like, what was the thought pattern there? I don't
I
get
like
it.
the idea of candy corn having a PR team. Like, Don Draper walks into a boardroom. I see a kid. Halloween night. He's holding a bag of corn. What kind of corn, you ask? Candy corn. He slaps Christina Hendricks around. She's dressed as Catwoman. It's really surreal.
It's riveting.
Wins all of the Emmys.
Not my way. Now I can all just imagine candy corn as an actual, like, being that exists. Just
Candy.
a mouth and eyes and just these weird hands. How are you going to market me this week? Kids aren't buying me anymore.
Really, because what I was imagining was Don Draper as the driver, slapping around Christina Hendricks.
My mind just went to Titanic. Eat me like one of your French girls.
All manner of references.
I could see candy corn though being like the pods of some horrible alien creature, and it has to enlist a marketing team to convince people to eat it, despite its terrible taste.
What is the official slogan for candy corn? Like, it's okay, I guess.
It's there. It's not Halloween without candy corn.
So what we're basically getting at is, no matter what it is, it's a conspiracy.
Wait. Box Office Pulp doesn't recommend candy corn.
It's funny you say that, because I was just about to recommend that for this Halloween, make a tradition. Instead of a big thing of popcorn, everyone just get a big bowl of candy corn and just, we're going to treat it like it's a taste you have to acquire. If you just eat like 3 pounds of it, you're going to love it.
That would be a fucked up experiment.
I
want
think
to
so.
do that, actually.
Yeah, see?
Just a big bowl of candy corn, just eat it like it was popcorn.
We get together and
The thing is,
went to a coma.
we get together,
The
watch
thing
Trick
is,
or
I'm-
Treat, and eat all the candy corn we can find, which is a lot.
The thing
Yeah.
is, I'm still not convinced candy corn is edible.
Well, it goes in, it goes
Like,
out.
I think it
That's
just
all that matters.
passes right through you.
Hey, as long as it passes,
Well, we
that's
need
all
to-
that matters.
What we need to do is like a Super Size Me type documentary where we study the effects that candy corn has on the human body.
Wait. If we ate only candy corn for every meal, we'd be dead in 48 hours.
That'd be a great documentary.
Well, yeah, but that would be the film.
It would be a great third act. By the way, now all I can imagine is the 4 of us going trick-or-treating, looking for candy corn.
Okay,
Snickers,
And
this
being
is
disappointed.
bullshit.
this is the real question, though. If we're going trick-or-treating for candy corn, what is your costume? MB, go.
RoboCop.
Oh, I like how he's on his toes for that one. Good job.
Oddly enough, I was kind of expecting that question.
MB was ready the whole time. He's like, I know this.
Here's the thing: is it classic RoboCop or crappy remake RoboCop?
I'm assuming you're going to go with Stealth Robocop so we can sneak up on people in the night.
Hey, Stealth RoboCop is designed by Batman. Show some respect.
You got me there. I wonder if
So-
Stealth
so-
Robocop plays like ads every 15 minutes, like, and you can't skip them. Like he just starts screaming out something like, "Make sure to buy Gerbers for your baby." Robocop, we're in the middle of a shootout. Stop it.
It's biting satire. This murder brought to you by Clorox.
He actually sprays it on their corpses.
We could get some. That would be great if we could get some advertising space on RoboCop.
Like,
Box Office Pulp recommends Kane.
you said that, and I thought it'd just be like a giant sticker that's like stuck on his thigh or something. Like his whole body is divvied up into different advertising spaces.
He's Captain Amazing.
I'm thinking more like
Exactly.
Big Man Japan. Like he has to get, big splotches on his back or something. Not really related to Halloween at all, but oh well.
That was a tangent.
Hey, Lexa, you're dodging the real question. What would you be for Halloween?
See, this is the trick for me, because there's so many ideas I have, but I think one of my favorites I had as a kid was just, I bought a Grim Reaper mask and a Hawaiian shirt and sandals, and I went as Death on Vacation.
You clever goose.
Normally though, I mean, I've got my Rorschach costume. That one's kind of fun.
You wear it around the house.
Here's a good one my friend did. It turns out there's a website you can send in a request for a cane if you're blind, so to help navigate around. And the government sponsors this, they just send canes out. So my friend just sent in an application for a free cane. He is not blind. He received the cane, went out for Halloween with the cane, and just put on sunglasses and pretended to be a blind guy for his costume. The best part
Wait,
was
that is
people...
like
Horrible.
People believed him though, like he was walking down the street just tapping his cane, and people would like get off the sidewalk and start walking in the road so they wouldn't have to be near the blind guy. And they didn't
a
question the
horrible
fact that
social
he was wearing
experiment.
sunglasses in the middle of the night.
I mean, a disability is not a Halloween costume. I don't just
Apparently
show up
it
to
is.
Halloween parties and say, like, I have cancer.
Hey, tell that to Daredevil.
MB's got a point.
That was harsh.
By the way, what would your costume be, James? I'm curious.
I would go as Repo Man. Just because who the fuck dresses as Repo Man?
Mike, which is why it would be awkward.
Mike was also
We'd be
gonna
like
be
the
Repo
dude-
Man. He's trying to figure out a new costume right now.
We'd be like one of those dueling cosplays at Dragon Con. There's just an awkward photo of us looking at each other.
I guarantee you Mike was thinking Repo Man as his answer.
No. I would be Lawrence Talbot, but not as the Wolfman. It would be in between transformations where he's just haunted by the fact that he's actually a werewolf.
And not even remake Talbot. You'd
It'd just
be
be you.
No, I'd be
It'd
original
be you
Talbot.
as,
So-
I was going to say, you would just be wearing a Chuck Benicio del Toro mask.
Oh, that one. I thought we were talking like original Sal, where you just kind of look a little overweight and sweaty.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
the used car salesman
changed.
Wolfman.
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
look
okay.
a little clammy all the time.
The Del
Oh,
Toro
jeez,
version
I'm a good-
day.
I'm a good man who still says his prayers at night.
I don't deserve this. That would be me going up to every door and just giving that entire speech.
I don't deserve this.
That's your trick or
Please give me
treat.
your candy.
Then I just
Please.
look up to the sky and then run away, covering my face.
Who knows
I
what I'll
had the
turn
cane
into when the
too, so-
Wolfbane's blooms.
I already have the cane, so it works.
There you go.
And yes, I do occasionally take the cane, turn it upside down, and go, good putter. And that's the only scene I recreate from that movie.
You must be popular with all the ladies. That has been a box office pulp low blow.
You can't trademark insults on this show.
I can't?
If you could, Mike would be rich, like episode 4.
Yeah, very true.
Anyway.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
Someone could go as
cool.
Trident Man. We just have to chop their limbs off.
Oh, MB.
I would be willing to make the sacrifice.
To be fair, he was going to go as RoboCop, so we would have to do terrible things to him.
A lot of terrible things.
Yeah,
We would
there
have
has
we
be
have
a
to
whole
lose the
sequence
arm, go
where-
full prosthetics.
Yeah, I mean, you have to shoot off my hand first of all.
You should go as
Could be
RoboCop,
animated.
like that animatronic RoboCop from RoboCop 2, where he's just like in for maintenance. Blah, blah, give them big RoboCop
I don't actually
candy.
move. I'm just like flailing all over the place in one spot for the entire night.
They have
They
to
bring
feed you candy
MB's
corn.
horrified wife in.
I like this plan. This could work.
I don't know you.
You actually don't.
I just imagine you going up to Matt. They made this to honor him.
MB, what did I do to you? That's my co-host in there.
Oh, God. So, do you guys have any actual like big Halloween plans? Do you do something like every year for Halloween?
I mean, I don't really have a grand tradition. Like, I have very loose traditions, I would say, for it. I mostly watch the AMC marathon.
Those are
Fright
always good.
Fest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Oh,
okay.
you mean hashtag Fright Fest?
Oh yeah. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, I have to admit, last year's was pretty lacking, so I wasn't as
Didn't they
too
start
into
last
that one.
year's, like, 2 days before Halloween?
I think so. Didn't Kevin Smith host it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
used
and
to
not
be
only that, but it's like
Awesome back in the day.
there was like no movie, like no good movies that year.
No,
It's
it's like
just like-
Halloween 2 is like the most classic movie yet.
Well, also it's like they did the Friday the 13th marathon, but then they repeated it so many times just to
Yeah.
fill space.
I think IFC does Friday the 13th Marathon now too, don't they?
Yeah.
I want to say.
And I also always try to catch Bravo's scariest movie moments.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I
those were
rewatched
classic
that.
when you were a kid. That's how
I
you
rewatched
got
that last year.
90% of your horror
Yep.
education when you were 10.
Like I would watch it and I'd be
You
like
can't
writing
actually-
stuff
you're not old
down.
enough to actually watch- yeah. You're not old enough to actually watch any of these movies, but you can see the highlights.
Like that was the first time I've ever heard of stuff like Audition. Or there was another
mean-
movie.
Like 99 others.
Yeah.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Didn't they do like
I just-
a couple, not quite the same thing, but like sequel kind of ones?
Yeah, like
Like-
30 scary moments. I have that sitting on my hard drive still. I have both of them, but
Yeah.
I think there was like maybe a third one. I don't remember.
It feels like something they should
But
have to do every
I-
year. Just like pick out some new horror movies that they really love and just talk about them. Because I would love the hell out of that.
I think that's probably what they were trying to do, but they ran out of steam pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I know Chiller has their own version of that. I was watching it last year. They were talking about Saw and Paranormal Activity. It just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
No, I need like weird foreign horror films from the 60s in there for it to be really weird.
Gotta get a good mix.
But,
Can't be all new stuff.
And they had the right amount of the certain right people doing the commentary on those things.
Mm-hmm. Like
Just
they would
a
have like
weird
big names,
hodgepodge.
celebrities, and then they would also have like people that were just, little comedians or people you'd never heard of before. So you really got a good mix of people that knew their shit and other people were just casual fans. It's pretty great.
And then
Eli
like
Roth.
film historians. There's that too.
But as far as like actual films go, it's kind of weird. I was thinking about this today. I don't really, you know how traditionally people go for the Universal horror movies like the Dracula, the Frankenstein, Creature of the Black Lagoon, all that stuff. I realized earlier that there's one specific movie franchise that I like, but I don't like the classic version that much. Like, I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge fan of it, which is actually the Dracula.
I was going to guess The
I'm
Mummy.
not really, yeah.
Oh, the Mummy. Which is just Dracula, by the way.
But I'm honestly, like, when I think of Dracula, like, I don't think of the original. I don't think of the Bela Lugosi version. I think of actually two specific versions. And no, not the Christopher Lee version either. I
Gary
think
Oldman?
first of all, I think of the 70s Dracula, which is Frank Langella.
Okay, yeah.
Just because that, if you have never seen that version of Dracula, it is, I swear to you, the darkest version of that story on screen.
Because the other ones are always so happy, too.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, that one is like seriously messed up in some places.
And Dr. Loomis shows up.
Exactly. That's actually one of the most memorable parts of that movie is the fact that you'll never see eggs being devoured until you've seen Donald Pleasance devour them.
And he's not Van Helsing.
Laurence
Exactly.
Olivier is fucking Van Helsing.
Yes, exactly.
Still can't believe I haven't seen that. That sounds...
It's so good.
I think it's on Instant. Or it was at one point.
I know what we're doing after we record this.
Ooh. Ooh.
But I sincerely love that just because it is such a stark and serious movie. And it's bleeding with atmosphere more so than any Dracula movie I think I've ever seen. And it's not like the overtone atmosphere sort of thing where it's like it's bats everywhere and there's creepy castles.
See, I love that of course, that's like the domain of the original Universal monster movies. But to me, that's like what I want from a Halloween flick. Like, I want, really shitty lightning effects and rubber bats going across the screen on strings. Like, that is exactly what I want.
You like the trick-or-treat stuff.
Well, to be fair, that stuff is in the Langella version. It's
wonderful.
it's more of like sort of a modern Gothic rather than timeless Gothic. If that makes Mike has seen the film. I don't know whether or not I'm doing the film justice, but like, how would you describe it?
It's like the first like love story version of Dracula, but that makes it sound more like a love story than it is. It's kind of like acid trippy, fucked up, rapey kind of love story.
So it's like the
Angelo's-
Francis Ford Coppola version?
No, not even that.
No.
Like it's
beyond that?
Yeah, that was
My
more
God.
straightforward.
Yeah,
Because this Dracula is not really like
yeah, he's not like a tortured soul or anything like that. He's flat out evil.
yeah, he's like romantic, but more in like the way Hitler was a good talker.
Yeah.
I just can't wrap my head around the concept of a Dracula movie having a crazier moment than, no, do not see me.
Listen, it's not an absurd movie like Coppola
Yeah.
was, unfortunately, but it has the best Dracula defeat, I think.
It's better than having your head cut off by Winona Ryder at George Lucas's behest.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
But it also has the moment of Laurence Olivier facing down Frank Langella, and Frank Langella just, in the most over-the-top manner imaginable, screaming, "Sacrilege!" and leaping out the window as a wolf.
And then he played Skeletor.
Did Do you guys know the other Christopher Lee Dracula movie that's the non-Hammer version?
You need a
No.
non-Hammer Dracula?
Yeah.
Sacrilege.
Are you talking about his appearance in Dark Shadows with Tim Burton?
No.
Good.
Wait,
This is-
are you
it
talking
is-
about?
Go on.
Go on.
This is
Cool.
it's just called Count Dracula. It's been a while since I've watched it. I was gonna actually rewatch it this month. It was like the most faithful version of Dracula probably ever made, closer to the book.
Really?
Yeah, including Dracula actually having a mustache like he does in the book. So it's
Nice.
Christopher Lee Dracula with a mustache.
Now, this was the Italian language version, right?
I don't remember. Might have been.
How does it stack up quality-wise?
I mean, I watched it and it was in English. I remember it being good. A lot of it takes place in a mental asylum, Dr. Sewage running, but it has all the suitors and all that. I don't think there's the Demeter sequence, but you actually see the aftermath of the Demeter sequence, like the captain being tied to the wheel by a cross and all that.
Mhm.
So I don't think any version of that had shown up to that point. I think it's from like the late 70s. I should probably have looked it up first, but I didn't, so fuck you.
Yeah, when it comes to Dracula, for me, even though I saw this later in life, you can't really top the Hammer Christopher Lee Draculas, because it's funny watching those and comparing them to the Bela Lugosi Dracula. A lot of what comes to mind whenever people think of vampire movies is really established in those Christopher Lee Draculas.
Yeah. Like fangs.
Yeah.
Overrated. He doesn't
You prefer your
sparkle.
you like vampires who have to work for it.
Just really just nibble in there and just pull for a while and get that shit done.
Really, the only Dracula for me is Leslie Nielsen. You guys
take that
laugh.
back.
I love Dracula Dead and Loving It, and I have no shame about saying it. It might have been
Creatures
the
of the Night.
it
What a
might have been the
best
first Dracula movie I ever saw.
That's probably true for me too, I'm not gonna lie.
I
I
saw
remember.
it before I saw Coppola's, so that really fucked with my head.
I had it on
Same here.
VHS. Like, I read the book, and then I saw the movie, and I'm like, I'll go with it. This is pretty good.
This is an interesting interpretation.
You know, because I was pretty young when I did this, so, like, the book was kind of over my head, but then the movie, I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, Dracula got kicked in the balls. Okay. I know what's going on.
Enemas, I get it.
Oh, God.
You skinless-
Raspberry? A raspberry? I don't see any raspberries.
To be fair, I could see the weird sisters humping the furniture in the book.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
one of the things that I remember from Dracula Dead and Loving It, but I didn't remember from what Dracula movie that I saw it in. So it was a weird thing.
You thought it could have been the Langella version.
It could have been. I wouldn't know. It was just lost to me. So I knew it was in something. I just couldn't remember what.
Just Donald Pleasance busting in the room. Scandalous women!
Wrong me, wrong me, wrong me. God.
Speaking of Hammer movies, one film series I prefer over the Universal is the Hammer Frankensteins. As much as I love the Universal movies, what I love about the Hammer Frankensteins is, again, you get the Dr. Frankenstein that exists in most people's minds, where he's just an evil piece of shit.
Oh, the evil.
He's basically a supervillain.
No
He's
remorse.
creating
And
monster after monster just because he can.
And add to the fact that he's played by Peter Cushing.
I know. With Christopher Lee as the monster, who sadly doesn't
Star
speak.
Wars Peter Cushing.
Now, this was before his Tarkin became Grand Moff.
Exactly. He was just Tarkin back then.
God, that sounds like such a weird innuendo. Will you
Maybe
off my
that
Tarkin?
We don't know.
Oh, Moff my Tarkin, baby.
See, I really wish Hammer was, I don't know, aired more often on a TV, because I, didn't see him until, like, a year ago. Like, I hadn't had really any experience with any of the Hammer stuff, and they're not on Blu-ray. It's hard to find them on DVD, and when you do, they're, like, in weird combo packs where they take one Dracula film and stick it in with, like, one werewolf film that's, like, the fourth in the series.
I've seen a pretty good Hammer Dracula combo pack that has the first three Christopher Lee Draculas and I believe it's Dracula 1975 AD starring Johnny Alucard.
Yeah, I think I've seen that one too. Like, it's just, 4 movies stuck together on, like, one DVD.
I don't think Hammer even knows what order those Dracula films actually go in.
I have a feeling if we were in England, we could get them all no problem on Blu-ray. Like, nice fancy editions, but because we're in America, there's probably, like, weird distribution things going on.
Well,
Right.
Sir
Also,
Christopher Lee's a national treasure over there. I think he was their prime minister for a while.
Hey, he
done
does have
everything
some
else.
metal albums.
Very true.
Charlemagne. Anyway.
I don't know. For me, Halloween, it's not Halloween until I pop in a copy of The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is great because that also heralds the beginning of Christmas season. It's like a
Oh,
two-for-one.
yeah, same here.
See, that's my Christmas movie though.
See, I always kind of struggled, like, oh, is this Christmas movie? Is this Halloween? And I said, wait a minute. I can watch this multiple times a year.
I've outsmarted you, movie.
I know, he was sitting in his case and it just, like, it frowned. I've never seen a case do that before. Then I realized I was watching Videodrome and I was confused.
Okay.
Videodrome
okay,
is seducing Jack Skellington.
Could you imagine if Lynch made a musical?
I'm sure he has. In his basement.
Yeah. What were you about to say, Amber?
I was about to say, I have a confession to make. I've never seen Nightmare Before Christmas.
I know what we're watching this October the 31st.
Dun, 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 boom, boom, ba-dum. I'm just gonna do that for like the next hour. Just go ahead and talk.
I'm all for it.
You know, I have this weird tradition with A Nightmare Before Christmas where I watch it in October every year, but I don't own it on video or DVD. I have to find it just playing on television at some random date.
The 13 Days of Halloween for ABC? ABC
Sometimes.
Family?
ABC Fox Family, a division of the Walt Disney Corporation. I did this every year except last year, where it was streaming on Netflix, and it wasn't the same.
Wasn't the same without the commercial breaks.
Do you have movies like that where you feel like you need to find them? Like, if you own them on DVD, it's not the same?
I refuse to own A Christmas Story.
Same
Well, yeah.
here. That has to be watched on a 24-hour loop on TBS.
Yep.
Exactly.
But,
You don't even watch it in one sitting. You just keep coming back to it. It's always a different part.
yeah, and then you
eventually
eventually
see-
conglomerate into
Yeah.
one viewing experience. Yeah,
It's
I
like
feel that way
Memento.
about Jaws. Like, for years I saw Jaws so many times on TV that it just seems wrong to pop in my DVD copy. Like, I can't sit through it in one sitting because it's not made for that. There's gotta be, like, some weird, cleaning commercial in between every couple of minutes.
I think we're like weird holdovers because we didn't grow up with, everything at our fucking fingertips. So we just grew up waiting to go to a family's house that has HBO so we can watch a movie.
Yeah, we're the last Fox Night at the Movies generation.
Oh,
The
man.
UPN Saturday afternoon movie.
God, do you guys remember Dinner in a Movie? Like when they would make
Yes,
those?
beans and cornbread. God,
God,
that chick
I
is
miss
still
that.
around, by the way. She has a podcast on the Nerdist.
Really?
She's still cooking them beans and cornbread.
Oh, that's amazing. Seriously, that was like my favorite thing. Like, as a kid, like stay up late, watch Dinner in a Movie.
Hold on. You fucked up there.
No,
Maybe Flexo was so excited it broke his connection.
I was that excited.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about Dinner in a Movie for years. I think the last one I saw, they were playing like The Abyss or something weird.
God, speaking of TBS, or TNT, whichever it was, Monster Vision with Joe Bob Briggs. Oh God, just imagine if Matt hosted a movie special every week. Now, did any of you guys watch that?
No. That doesn't sound familiar.
Oh, it was
I've honestly never heard of it.
It was awesome. It was like this dude he was basically the redneck Elvira. And he would preface all the movies with like this 20-minute explanation of the plot, where sometimes he would draw up diagrams and he would count all the times things happened in movies. Like I remember watching it with Back to the Future, where he worked out this insanely long theorem about how time travel works in the movie, where his hypothesis was if Marty McFly really could travel back in time in a DeLorean, he would be struck blind. So this movie was bullshit.
The hell?
So it is Matt.
Remember when I first watched My Boyfriend's Back, starring Christy Swanson? The first zombie romantic comedy, where he tallied up exactly how many times the main character's penis falls off throughout the 2 hours.
This sounds fantastic.
And just him talking about The Last Starfighter. Just enthusiastic because it was a movie set in a trailer park. Finally, we were being represented, and I was sitting in my trailer park with a tear in my eye. Thinking, me and Joe Briggs were just, we were bonding over this shared experience. That's the first time I ever saw any of those movies, too. That was my weekly ritual.
I just remember Friday nights they would show replays of the Son of Svengoolie. Do you guys remember with that at all?
That's vaguely familiar.
Basically, it was like, a commentator who would just, really bad over-the-top jokes and really low production values. But it'd always go with, like, the worst B movies they could find, like Night of the Shrews, and it'd be Svengoolie going off. And they were always magical.
Yeah, I think everybody has that kind of show from their childhood.
I'm not even sure why they were playing it. Like, they must have really thought no one was watching TV at that point just to throw that on. Like, it was a step above an infomercial, but...
Yeah, that's what was great about early cable, is you would just find the weirdest shit. I remember the Sci-Fi Network from back then.
Oh, God. Back when they actually cared about sci-fi?
Theater.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
The ultimate one of these shows.
I mean, you talk about shows that you can make into a horror tradition. It's like, think of how many horror movies were on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That needs to be mine.
You could actually probably watch 30 episodes of that show and not run out of them throughout the whole month of October.
Yeah, there were 500 episodes of that show.
What? Holy cow. I knew it ran for a long time, but I didn't think it ran that long.
I was exaggerating, host.
Ah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was 500 episodes, technically.
Well, you raised my hopes and then dashed them. Congratulations.
You could still watch 30 of them. And they'd all star Joe Estevez.
Or you could watch one episode 500 times.
It's
I
lost
could
the
watch
appeal.
Danger Diabolique that many times.
No, I've got too many other things to watch for Halloween.
I'm sorry. Goodbye.
Okay, that is a good topic starter, actually, because you'll have a very specific tradition.
Well, thank you for the encouragement. Woohoo!
But yeah, you have a very specific tradition that you do every year that you make very public on your Facebook page.
I
remember being
and it's fantastic. People just throw comments at you like you're doing something positive with your life, and you're not. Great.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know me,
You're a glass half empty kind of guy, aren't you?
I think pessimism is just a very. Actually, it's more optimistic than optimism, really.
I agree.
You expect the worst,
Of course
and if you always
agree.
expect the worst, everything else is better. But I
That's what I
digress.
did in my life, like so.
Thank you. Yeah, we're on a team now.
And that brings us to Halloween.
Right. For those of you who don't know me,
For those of you, those subscribers who don't know Cody Alft personally,
you can find me on Facebook under Cody Elft. Anyways, I'm gonna get so many weird fans. No, I won't. I won't get any. But
hey, we have E. Ripley.
E. Ripley. Special shout out to our fan of the week. E.
Octopus Pulp recommends E. Ripley.
Creeping on our iTunes fans. But every Halloween, not even Halloween, every October, I like to watch at least one horror film every single day of the month. And it's basically a poor man's version of Horror Movie a Day. If you go to that blog spot, it's amazing. Brian Collins, for several years, watched a horror movie every single day, and then would write up, a couple paragraphs on each film, doing a mini review. It was amazing. I loved it. My version's not as intense. I write a paragraph and post it on Facebook for the likes. But I do try and make a schedule each year and mix up different things, some kid movies, some adult movies, some movies I haven't seen, movies that everyone needs to see. So you try and get that
Get some of
good
that
blend.
scary porn in.
Oh, yeah. It's the best.
Walking
Movies
Dead.
to scare you stiff.
Ooh. I like your thinking.
I stole that joke from Dean Lerner.
Ah, I should have known. Damn these monkey hands. But I mean, for me, like, Nightmare Before Christmas is always on the list. That's got to be in there. Halloween's got to be in there. Trick or Treat, that's a newer one, but to me, that's like a Halloween staple now. If you don't have Trick or Treat in October, there's something wrong with you.
Oh yeah.
Are you not a fan of Trick or Treat, Mike?
No, I was saying for those who don't have Trick or Treat. Fuck
Oh,
them.
I agree. Yeah, fuck them. Otherwise, you know,
Fuck
always
you,
got-
Fox Searchlight. Fox
Yeah.
Searchlight.
But I mean, then you also have stuff like Scooby-Doo meets the Brew Brothers. You got to have that in there. That's great.
I do want to watch that again.
It's yeah, right. It's
I
great.
haven't seen it since I was fucking 5.
That's sad.
That's
Missing out,
it's
dude.
the superior Shaggy solo film.
It is. It is Red Shirt.
Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf's all right.
We're not going to bring that up again. We're not going to bring that
No.
up again.
Scooby-Doo and the
No.
Ghoul School, it's got its moments. I like it just for
It's okay.
monsters.
Blue
Whatever.
Brothers is where it's at.
Yeah, definitely.
There's
no doubt.
one Scooby-Doo movie that I probably should actually make into a tradition, which is the title's blanking on me right now.
Zombie Island?
Big Top Freight?
Yes. Zombie Island.
That one is
No.
pretty good.
It's terror time again, you know.
Where this time the monsters are real. Remember seeing the first VHS trailer for that and it blowing your mind?
I know.
It was like seeing the Avengers.
That was an event movie.
Which was hilarious because the monster had been real in Scooby-Doo for, like, decades. Like, 13
Yeah,
Ghosts of
they
Scooby-Doo,
can't-
that was a whole
Vincent
show.
Price and fight demons. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was so amazed by that, but I saw that trailer and I was like, it's Scooby-Doo and zombies, real zombies.
I think we were just amazed to see Scooby-Doo well animated.
Yeah, like in an actual theatrical release.
there wasn't a pup named Scooby Doo.
Did you guys see the Scooby-Doo movie in theaters, the live-action ones?
Fuck no.
No, I was able to avoid that.
My cousin was a huge
I
Scooby-Doo
didn't.
fan, so we saw both of them.
I didn't avoid it.
It's
I
weird.
unfortunately had to see that in theaters. Dear God.
In 3D.
It's great because the movie's terrible, but over time you kind of get like, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad. There were moments. You know, Shaggy was good. And then you go back and rewatch it, and it's even worse than you remember. It's one of those movies that, like, there's no reason to ever own it.
But Shaggy is still good.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
the guy who wrote that is now doing Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't get how that works.
Hell if I know.
How did the guy who made Super write Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed? I can understand if he wrote the script to Scooby-Doo 1 and then the studio fucked it up, but why do you come back for seconds? It's like Frank Miller coming back to write RoboCop 3.
World may never know.
That got somber there. Anyway, back to your horror movie a day thing.
So yeah, I mean, I like to get a good mix here. I don't know, because, hell, there's movies that we watch every single year, and they get a little, like, sometimes I don't even feel like watching Halloween, just because I've seen it a million times. So I try and find something new. Like,
Well-
this year, I'm going to watch The Burning, because I've only seen that, like, twice before.
Well, with Halloween, like it's different with me because that's actually one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mhm.
So I don't really keep it specific to October. I watch it throughout the year, like sometimes. So I get tired of it on that merit, just because I've already watched it like a couple times a year. But I still
and
do
he's
get
locked
that.
in his room. I watched it 6 times!
You don't know what cinema is!
But I mean, sometimes I still do get the urge to watch it during the month, and if it's on TV, I'll watch it regardless, just because I like the idea of watching it on TV for some odd reason.
That always cracks me up.
Just
Like, if
because
there's
I
a
think-
movie you love and it's on TV, it doesn't matter how many times you've seen it elsewhere or if you own it or whatever else. Like, oh, well, better sit down and watch this now.
Because
I
it's
always do
special.
that with. I always do it for Batman Forever.
Yeah.
That is always the movie that I do that with.
But it's a weird thing when you're you're actually looking at your collection for a movie to watch. You go, I just don't feel like watching any of this.
Eh.
One of those fucking things was on TV, be watching it right now.
Exactly. Like, that's actually, like weirdly, and this has nothing to do with Halloween, but weirdly, I feel that way with TV shows. Like if I own them on DVD, I just stop watching them. Like I don't care.
Yeah.
If I see it on TV, like in a rerun, I will watch it no matter how many times I've seen that episode.
Here's
It
my
is
theory.
The most insane thing.
Here's my theory. When you own something on DVD, it's like a trophy on your wall. You've defeated that movie. But when it's on TV, it's still in the wild. It's elusive.
I've defeated you, Futurama Season 1.
I slayed the dragon of Walmart and came back with my trophy.
You can never slay the dragon of Walmart.
Voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch.
You
can
cut
only
off its
sneak by
head,
it.
2 more take its place.
A Kmart in a shop will
saving.
pop out.
Hail Walton.
But I mean, there are a couple horror movies, but I just can't really. You would have to ask me like during the actual month because I just kind of, it's just kind of a routine that I subconsciously go into. It's not even really, like I don't seek those movies out. It's just if they're on, I usually watch them, and they're usually on during this time of year. So
Mhm.
You don't
have,
seek
like,
out, you channel surf.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I'm doing my best to try and expose people, like my friends, to movies they haven't seen before. Just to, it's always fun to watch a movie with someone who has no idea what's going on. Like this year, I'm going to try and get a copy of Blood Creek, because I think that'll be interesting. I haven't even seen that one. It's Fassbender's a vampire.
Oh.
Oh, I think it's like a
Life
neo-Nazi
imitates
vampire. I'm going to run a marathon of The Collector and The Collection back-to-back, because a lot of people haven't been exposed to those yet. Which I think is actually a really good new slasher series. I don't know if anyone else out there agrees.
I think people fear the Saw stigma.
Yeah, but it's so much fun. Like, the movies are actually a blast.
Yeah, it seemed like something that would be good. I've always wanted to seek them out.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I mean, if you can get over kind of how illogical it is that the entire house would be rigged up with traps, it's a blast. But, other stuff, older stuff, like Dead Alive. I try and get everyone to watch Dead Alive because it's amazing. Like, where else will you see a guy run with a lawnmower strapped to his chest through a herd of zombies?
All these years later, Dead Alive is still like the golden standard for that kind of movie. I mean, nobody has ever topped how deliriously fucked up that movie is.
It's true. I think Sam Raimi tried pretty hard with Drag Me to Hell, but he was handicapped by a PG-13 rating.
Like, that movie is more Raimi than Raimi. I mean, where else are you going to see a zombie baby rip a woman's head in half? And then the baby get put in a blender.
Another confession I have. Never seen Dead Alive.
You should definitely check it out. It's Peter Jackson before he became Peter Jackson. Also on my list, The Frighteners. Like, early Peter Jackson made some great stuff. Actually, current Peter Jackson makes great stuff, so whatever.
This was pre-epic Peter Jackson. And Frighteners is a movie that not a lot of people know about, but the people who have seen it all have a place in their heart for it.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be the director's cut, though. If you watch, like, the standard cut, it doesn't do it for me. You got to get all the Jeffrey Combs you can get in.
I say that about everything.
As much as Surface Man as possible.
But yeah, I've also got, like, standbys. Like, every year I make everyone around me watch Jeepers Creepers. Normally 1, although I do have a certain guilty pleasure for 2.
How do you guys feel about Jeepers Creepers? Because that seems to be a very divisive movie with people. You either have a real soft spot for it, or you hate it and want to burn it with fire.
I think a lot of people hate it because the director is a pedophile, which, puts a big stigma against the film itself. It's hard to enjoy it when you're like, the director's a bad guy.
It's never ruined Powder for me.
But it makes you look at Powder a lot differently, doesn't it?
All those shirtless scenes.
Oh, yeah. I like Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know. I think it's a great monster, but...
Yeah.
I've only seen parts of it.
I always liked his design.
Yeah, I think that's something everybody agrees in with. The design of the Creeper is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I just think maybe there's a certain goofiness to the movie that you kind of just have to go along with to enjoy it. And I guess a lot of people aren't willing to make that leap.
Yeah. Then again, I love horror comedies, so I think a lot of people have a hard time adjusting to that. Like, they want one genre, and that genre only. They don't want a film that's going to alternate drastically between funny and scary. It's kind of like, Drag Me to Hell failed at the box office, but I love that. It was all over the place. It could be actually frightening, or it could be hilarious. Drop of the hat. Or even like the new Fright Night.
People have issues with horror movies that star Justin Long.
I think so. Yeah, actually. That's the theme I'm getting here.
Or Justin Long.
But that's actually something I got into a discussion with somebody a while back because they hated Cabin in the Woods furiously.
Those people. I don't think I like them.
And her point was, well, I like something that's either a comedy or a horror movie. It's stupid to put them together. Which I don't get at all. It's like, so you don't like things that are new or interesting?
I'm trying to remember who said it, but someone recently, God, it'd be much better if I could remember the director's name, was talking about how films now feel really like homogenous in tone. Like, okay, this is a mystery, so it's going to be mysterious the whole time. But back in the day, like back in like the 50s or 60s, if you were making a movie, you could be all over the place. Like you could have a lot of comic relief crammed in right next to like violent gun, showdowns. And you could have tones that just would swing all over the place. So it was a whole experience when you went to the theater.
Yeah, you could have Abbott and Costello meet Dracula.
Whereas I think people just don't want that anymore, and the Hollywood system really produces films that are very focused on making one tone throughout the entire thing. And, people kind of adjusted that, and that's the type of film they want now.
Which is kind of weird because it's like when you think about it, that's only really exclusive to horror movies now. Because, I mean, you look at the Marvel movies, those can be an action movie and have really comedic and fun moments in it, sprinkled throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'm just
The
thinking,
Avengers is almost like an action comedy.
But, like, if you look at even The World's End, like, people were pretty iffy on the sudden tone shift when it goes from, like, a buddy movie to, like, spoilers, kind of an Invasion of the Body Snatchers type thing.
Also, it seems like these days horror movies are the most assembly line produced.
Yeah.
Of any genre. Like they're the movies that are the most a product.
Yeah, I've actually I was talking to Mike a little bit about this before the call, but like for me, modern horror movies just kind of all follow the same basic production, almost. Like they seem to even have the same camera. As weird as that sounds,
they all have a blue or green color palette.
Yeah.
Like they all just seem to have this quality to them that just makes them like of this era rather than it could be in keeping with like the last era or it could be timeless. It's like, no, this is strictly a 2000s horror movie. And it looks that way, it feels that way, and unfortunately that can be a detraction.
Yeah.
Which
you really gotta go to the indies for some, and that's wading through a sea of crap because horror tends to be the cheapest thing to produce, so most people are making horror movies on the indies, so you gotta get to the good ones.
I gotta wade through a sea of Fright Fest selects.
I gotta say, I do miss, like, the string of slashers that would never end from the 80s.
I know.
Like, Friday the 13th, part 103. Like, I kind of miss how madcap those would get. What do we do in part 7? Let's throw in a telepath. That'll keep it going.
You can't make those anymore in the internet age, because it's like everybody on the internet loves those movies, but doesn't understand how to let those movies exist now.
Yeah, the closest thing we've gotten is the Saw franchise.
Yeah, a series that comes out every single year, and Saw just didn't cut it for me. I mean, it's enjoyable in parts, but I've never been a fan past.
That was a fucking pun.
I don't even know what I said, but I'll trust it was fantastic.
Saw doesn't even cut it for me.
Oh, man, that was great.
He's really impressed with himself.
I am, actually. I wish I thought of that on purpose.
Oh, we finally cheered you up.
Yay.
This is the beginning of Glass Half Full, Flixu.
No, it's got a hole in it.
Unfortunately, the flip side, though, when it comes to that, as far as like long-running movie franchises based in horror, is the Final Destination films.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a main bad guy to rail against.
Yeah, unless you count Death.
And Tony Todd.
On occasion.
As Bloodworth.
Only if
The character
Death
I
is
didn't know had a name until I was watching the last one and saw the credits.
Although I will say we did get Hatchet 1, 2, and 3, so at least that was like an attempt to return back to the old slasher. But
Still, that was just a flat-out pastiche, though.
yeah. Plus, I mean, they designed it like a trilogy. Well, you know, it had a beginning, middle, and end, so it's like a trilogy. I want one of those series that feels like we're just never going to end this. Like there is no end to the wacky horror shenanigans.
I want
if there was
schlocky.
Schlocky.
justice in the world, if there was justice in the world, there would be a Leslie Vernon franchise.
Oh God, right? That's actually a really good point. What? I mean, if you had to pick a horror film that never got to take off as a franchise, what would it be? And you know, for me, it'd definitely be Behind the Mask. If you haven't seen it, please do yourself a favor and check it out this October. You are missing out on something amazing.
I only saw it last year, and I plan to watch it this year again.
For me, Excision. Just every movie Pauline operates on a new family member. But, my serious answer, I would love to see more trick-or-treat movies.
Yes,
Right?
Yes.
And it's such a tease because they used to do like those little shorts every single year to promote the marathon they do on FearNet. Did you guys ever see those?
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a Creep Show too. We can get a trick-or-treat too.
It's the Riley.
Really, there's like an everything else too. Why can't we bundle together and get a trick or treat? I imagine by now the DVD sales have had to have made it close to profitable, right?
I mean, there's a VHS too, and ABCs of Death too.
Don't get me started on ABCs of Death too. That's fucking bullshit.
To be fair, Mike, it's like 20.
So you cut out, so I didn't hear your point. I can continue saying ABCs of Death is bullshit.
I'm just saying there's 26 different people, so maybe a couple of them will be better.
Oh, I can't wait for the extra fart jokes.
Yeah.
It would be amazing if after all those movies are over, somebody just assembled the 25 good ones.
It's possible, yeah, if they keep going with the series. I'm actually pretty excited about VHS 2. I feel like one of the few people who love VHS 1.
I had mixed feelings about VHS, but I appreciated that it existed.
And VHS is a good enough concept for you to be able to do multiple movies.
That's pretty much how I feel about it. Like, each segment in itself is exciting because there's so much possibility, and there's so many different things you can do. So even if one is shitty, the next one could be fantastic.
I don't like found footage, so I'll fucking watch it.
I like found footage, but there's it depends on how they're using it.
Oh, yeah. So I thought they used it creatively in VHS.
Oh, yeah. No, they did. I wrote a paper on it. It's great.
Speaking of...
MD, Flexo wrote his college thesis on VHS.
I actually, pretty close. I didn't have to write a real thesis to graduate, but I did write it during my last semester for credit. So I did get college credit for writing a paper about the use of found footage in cinema, specifically horror films.
Fucking college boy.
College boy.
You should just send him this
city
podcast.
Learning.
Just send him Prometheus, part 1 and 2.
I'd fill up a phone book.
Yeah, no kidding. Here you go, Professor. Why did you do this?
I'd now like to read a passage from the Poetic Edda.
But speaking of found footage movies, actually one that I wish would have gotten a sequel is Cloverfield.
Oh yeah.
That would have been great.
Just because, like, I honestly fell in love with that movie the first time that I watched it. I mean, it's rare that a movie like that can get to me as quickly as that one did, so I would have been interested to see where they could have gone with it after that, especially given that for a long time they were saying the sequel was going to be on the same night from a different crew.
Yeah.
Like a different set of people.
Yeah, which you could do over and over and over again with that premise.
Yeah. They also talked about just doing the sequel as a straight movie, just getting into the mythology of it, which they clearly built.
It would be cool. Man,
cool.
The things that could have been.
Now Matt Reeves is doing. I guess he's doing actually Planet of the Apes, so I guess he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, he's moving on. But now I just made myself sad thinking about this topic, so I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Stop depressing Flexo, guys.
Come on. There are some horror films,
Spirit of Halloween.
Like, there are a million horror films out there, but only some of them have that right atmosphere for Halloween. So you gotta be choosier as it comes along. Like, You can maybe get away with The Shining, although to me that's a horror film you have to watch exclusively in like December. Whereas like Cabin in the Woods feels more like a summer film, like you watch that in August. There's not enough movies that feel like they're really set right in the fall and have that perfect Halloween autumn atmosphere to me. Like Silent Hill, I think actually does a good job of it, but then you have to enjoy Silent Hill.
Hey, first Silent Hill is pretty good, except
Yeah.
for the ending.
Yeah, 2 was
Silent Hill Revelation it looks very pretty.
yeah. We'll go with that.
It's like that Valley Girl you want to fuck, but you don't actually want to talk to.
That should be on the box somewhere just to warn people.
That brings me to my October pick, Ballet Girl.
I could see that. Nick
Oh
Cage
god, that chick
terrifies
Julie
me.
is truly dazzling.
Nick Cage's chest hair.
But it's like, James, you're like a big fan of the Slumber Camp Massacre, right?
Uh,
That was such an old man thing to say.
On the internet,
God damn it,
you
Papa
watch it on the
Flintstone.
YouTube. But I'm just saying, like, there's some horror films I love, but they really, like Black Christmas, I can never watch it for Halloween, even though I feel like it fits in,
It has Christmas in the title, so you refuse.
That's right, it's gone.
I only watch Halloween over and over and over again.
It's the only
That's
thing.
correct.
It's
well,
really
he only
hard.
watches Halloween 4 because it's about the holiday of Halloween.
Halloween 3 actually has a really good amount of Halloween atmosphere in it.
I'm sorry, Halloween 3 is what I was.
Yeah.
Oh no, they're corrupting the sacred tradition of Halloween masks.
God. Or my favorite part of the Halloween franchise, Halloween 2, where they think they identify Michael Myers, and then he's immediately run over by a random car, which explodes.
That got him.
It's one of the greatest scenes in movie history. Just murderous Loomis trying to shoot an innocent kid, and then he's ran over all of nowhere.
For no
The
reason.
car explodes after hitting a tree for some reason.
That was one unstable psychopath.
And also, it's revealed that was Ben Tramer, Laurie's crush from the first movie.
It was briefly mentioned in the first movie. Just
Yep.
weird continuity going on there.
Carpenter's tying it all together.
He was really drunk.
But one movie I can think of that I like to watch around this time of year that just has that Halloween feel to it through and through is Phantasm.
Oh, yeah, good choice.
Boy.
No, I actually haven't seen. We were talking about the endless franchises earlier. I haven't seen any of the 20 Phantasm sequels, but
There's something.
the original Phantasm will always be like in my top 5 favorite horror movies.
I think you can do Phantasm 1 and 2 and just be good there. I mean, you can watch it.
I don't know, that last Phantasm one was just so acid trippy.
I've seen bits of that where it's just that kid walking through a desert.
Yeah, and Reggie getting
flashing back
together
to
with
scenes from the first movie.
and the
And they're
second
alternate
movie
takes, so it's weird.
yeah, and the second movie where he's not played by the same person. And then Reggie, getting together with a militaristic built Mae West type black chick. Because it's fucking Reggie.
Phantasm is one of those movies that's just more than the sum of its parts. Like, you can't put your finger on what makes it great. Like, it's not the best screenplay. It's well directed, but there's nothing like visually stunning about it. There's just something about the tone of it that is pitch perfect.
I kind of feel that way. And by the way, confession time again. I've never seen Phantasm.
Mike Gass.
Good.
Master Chief. I kind of feel that way about Hellraiser, actually.
Oh,
I
same
feel the
here.
same way.
Oh, yeah,
I feel like the tone with that is just absolutely stunning. Like, I think Barker really hit a nerve with that.
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. I tend to watch that every year, too.
And same with Phantasm, it's got that tone where it's incredibly dark, but in a weird way it's a fun kind of dark.
Especially if you're into S&M.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I can kind of I can kind of see where you're coming from as far as comparing that to Hellraiser.
Yeah, like,
'Cause it's like-
Hellraiser is one of those movies that's like pleasantly fucked up almost.
Yeah, it's like it's disturbing when you think about it, but it's like it's not really heavy when you watch it. Like, it
it took
doesn't
me
leave you
it took me a
wanting to
long
take a
time to
cold
get into
shower.
Hellraiser because every time I'd watch it, I just feel like sick afterward.
I started watching Hellraiser when I was like 7, so or if that, maybe younger. So 1, 2, and 3. So I guess that explains a lot about me as an adult, but that's not up for you guys to judge.
Hey man, no judgments. All right.
I didn't see Hellraiser until I was 18, and I still wasn't old enough. Like, this is a grown-up movie.
This isn't for me. That's how I feel when I watch Videodrome. Like, I need an adult. I need an adult.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
realize how
being
awkward
seduced,
it-
and there's nothing I can do to stop it.
My visions are coalescing and they're becoming uncontrollable. Flesh.
Why did I watch this?
I'm just imagining how awkward it would be to watch like Videodrome with your parents. Like, pass.
I came very close to doing that.
Oh really?
When I was getting ready to watch Videodrome for the first time, I was with my mom and knew nothing about the plot of the movie.
Oh my god.
Thankfully, Netflix crashed that night, and I didn't watch anything.
Good guy Netflix has your back.
My mother used to tell this story like I said, like, something, I remember saying something about Videodrome, like, years and years ago. So, like, oh yeah, I saw that in the drive-in. It was my first date, I think, with your father.
Oh,
Defined the
that's...
entire relationship.
And
That
9 months later...
Yeah, that explains so much about Mike.
I think that's what it was, but that just blew my mind.
He was born under a bad star.
You were conceived with the glow of Cronenberg.
And James Woods' cock.
Oh.
And
Long live the new
cigarettes
flesh,
burning in the
everybody.
flesh.
Weirdly, Videodrome's not one of my October movies, which is odd. It should be.
I thought about putting it on my list, and then I realized I would not want to watch it with other people. Like, they would get up and leave halfway through.
Hey guys, let's crack open some brewskis and watch Videodrome.
Sounds fun! What are you doing? Why is this on TV?
Why is the TV a penis all of a sudden?
Long live the new flesh! Ah! Shoot everybody.
But here's a question: like, as far as horror genres go, what do you think is like your favorite to watch specifically during Halloween? Well, do you watch a lot of slasher movies? Do you watch a lot of zombie movies, like vampire movies? Like, what exactly?
So, that was
does it
actually...
for you?
When I made my Halloween list, I did put a type in there, like, okay, I've got 8 slasher films, I should balance it out and put in some demon films. It was actually a balancing act for me, because you realize, like, oh yeah, it's really easy to get demon films. Like, there's so many, if you count Possession as a demon thing, all the Paranormal Activities, if you want to count those as, I'm sorry, I'm thinking Wreck. The Wreck series.
Oh, yes, Wreck is a demon.
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity is a demon, too.
Yeah, so, it's kind of like a split, I guess. There's actually a lot of supernatural, demon-y type movies now, but I do get a lot of slashers in. I don't know, what do you guys normally aim for? Is someone here like a big fan of the Children of the Corn, like Evil Kid subgenre?
Well, I'm a big fan of the original Children of the Corn, but for all the wrong reasons.
Did I tell you how badly I got...
summer movie. That's a spring movie.
Did I ever tell you guys how badly I got fucked over by Target on Children of the Corn?
Hey, do that. Oh, go ahead.
I went in and they had Children of the Corn Blu-ray $5. And I'm like, I know what I'm buying. I get it. And I throw it into my Blu-ray player. And all of a sudden, it's like the MTV Children of the Corn remake from like 3 years ago. And I was like, no!
Well, it wasn't all of the sudden the remake. It didn't transfigurate on the way home.
It felt like it did.
Look.
I did not. I got so excited by Children of the Corn, I just bought. I thought it was just a swanky new cover, like a re-release. And
If
I
it
was
doesn't
so
have
mad.
Isaac on the cover, it's not Children of the Corn. It has to have his seal of approval.
There was an Isaac, but it's like remake Isaac.
Remake
Box
Isaac
office
does
both
not
recommends Kong.
Malachi.
I don't like your Isaac.
Yeah, it's very wrong.
You're doing
Does not have
zombie
the
Isaac
feeling
in the
of
last scene.
corn.
But as far as what I do, I typically go for slashers. I mean, honestly, that's probably one of my favorite subgenres anyway. So it just kind of feels natural to gravitate towards those because, like, I like some movies out of the other genres. I don't like a good number of them, like I do with slashers. So when it comes to that, as far as slashers go, I think those are just the easiest to get into for me.
Yeah.
I don't
Plus,
know
there's
about
a ton of selection. There are so many slashers out there. They must be like really easy to make, or at least cheap to make. In comparison, like
Yeah.
finding good werewolf movies, or even a decent selection of werewolf movies, is a little tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
and
you got
also like
Dog
as-
Soldiers
apart
and The
from-
Howling Part 1 through 100, but
As far as like vampire movies go, it's like apart from Dracula, I can't really think of many beyond that I enjoy.
Lost Boys,
Lost Boys is good. Fright Nights.
Fright Night.
Both.
Yeah, I like both of them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I was talking about Fright Night and Fright Night Part 2.
I've never seen Part 2.
Nobody has.
I've seen one scene from it where the vampire chick says, "Welcome to
Oh.
Fright Night for real," and it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, one I forgot. From Dusk Till Dawn. From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah, that's a
Ah,
very good vampire flick.
name's Sex Machine. Nice to meet you.
Sex Machine.
Come on, Sex Machine.
God, it's just awesome.
Featuring Salma Hayek.
Did you guys ever see Martin from George Romero?
No, I've heard of it.
It's
Yeah, I
it's
haven't
kind
seen
of
it. Sounded interesting.
fascinating. It's not his best film, but it's definitely worth watching at least once. Basically, the premise is there's a kid who thinks he's a vampire, so he goes around killing people and drinking their blood. It's up for debate if he's an actual vampire or not. But
Does
one way
vampires kiss?
That's actually the best vampire movie ever made.
Well, conversation over. We found our new movie for Halloween.
Let's watch it
I'm
right
a
now.
vampire. I'm a vampire.
I gotta add that to my list.
Hold on, gentlemen. Or Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood.
Oh yeah, starring action Dennis Miller.
That's right.
I should watch Demon Knight. That'd be pretty awesome.
I have Demon Knight, but
Billy
my
Zane.
DVD is scratched, so I can't finish it.
I think it's on Instant.
Yeah.
I remember watching Bordello of Blood late night on the Sci-Fi Channel whenever I was a kid, and the scene where vampire hunter Dennis Miller takes down an entire brothel full of hooker vampires with
With the-
super soakers filled with holy water while Ballroom Blitz plays is that left an impression on me.
It's beyond words. It's just fantastic.
It's
And-
just the 90s exploding.
I honestly love Tales from the Crypt so much. Like, I've got all of the HBO series on DVD now, so I'm just probably going to sit down and watch them every single day along with a movie.
I need to get those and see how they hold up. They've
There's-
got the DVDs really cheap.
They're still really funny. I mean, you get into them and you realize you can predict every single one like 2 minutes in, but if you're watching them with a group of people, they're just a blast. They're perfect party movies. Or shows, I should say.
I remember whenever I was a kid not getting that was supposed to be funny and just thinking it was a horror series,
Yeah.
which I thought until I was like in my teens.
Yeah.
I rewatched some of the episodes.
They're not scary at all, but they're hilarious. One of my favorite moments, we were watching with a group of friends, and we weren't sure if we liked it or not. And then the Crypt Keeper comes on, he's like, I love it when a ghoul gives good head. And I'm like, yep, I love this. This is great.
That's when I got the Flexo seal of approval.
It was. I just couldn't believe. I think it was in like an episode directed by Tom Hanks too. So I'm like, oh my god, Tom Hanks made that joke. This is brilliant.
Tom Hanks likes ghoul-related oral sex puns.
Well, who doesn't?
But subgenres with me, I think I don't know if this is like an official subgenre. I don't want to get the horror police called in. But,
Thomas Jane just bursts in.
Freeze! Break his
Some other
kneecaps.
bitch is there with him.
they skip. But my favorite is horror movies that have a sci-fi or fantasy edge to them. movies like Alien, and even I would say the Hellraiser movies, especially Hellbound, which almost feels like a really fucked up fantasy movie.
Or the one where they're on a spaceship the entire time.
Not the entire
If that
time.
helps
There were
you.
Flashbacks of different time periods, Flexo.
That's
Get it
very
right.
true.
It's called Bloodlines with the last theatrical Hellraiser movie. You need to know what the fuck you're talking about.
Jesus, man. Calm down.
I love taking situations and tropes that we're familiar with and making them new again by putting them in different contexts, like how Alien is essentially an H.P. Lovecraft story set in space.
I guess I never thought of it that way before, but yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, those are always my favorite types. That and allegorical horror movies, because with sci-fi and horror, my favorite movies are always the ones that are using that genre to say something, like Romero's zombie movies.
Mm-hmm.
Horror's always good for that.
Well, not always, but sometimes it can be fantastic.
Well, it's good for that. Whether or not it's used for that is really different.
Yeah. Case in point, Diary of the Dead.
Oh, yeah, but that movie stopped every 5 minutes to tell us what was going on, so...
Why are you holding a camera? This is what's wrong with this generation. Ah!
I was so sad when I watched Diary of the Dead, because I'd been with Romero. Like, watched the original trilogy, loved it, watched Land of the Dead, thought that was great. A lot of people turned their backs at that point, but I'm like, no, I'm staying with it. And Diary of the Dead, and I was like, oh, maybe if I stick on, then there was Survival of the Dead.
I still haven't seen Survival of the Dead.
Survival of the Dead is punishment.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's like a direct-to-video Return of the Living Dead sequel.
Return of the Living Dead.
Now, my favorite part of Diary of the Dead is there's absolutely no ramp-up to where the message starts to be stated. It's literally the first 5 minutes, everyone's looking to the guy in the camera and telling him what an asshole he is because he's recording everything. It's like, okay, I understand why he would record the first 5 minutes. Get off his dick, people.
Yeah. Yeah. I also love how Romero didn't quite understand how to use, like, a mockumentary approach. Like, he's got a soundtrack in there, and it's like, the battery you see the icon, but I don't think it ever goes down or anything like that. It's like, sometimes the camera's in places where it shouldn't be.
That's why Survival of the Dead was so bad. It's actually a spin-off of Diary of the Dead.
Yep. It wasn't the only reason why it was bad, but...
That was the crappy universe.
Yeah. I really hope The Land of the Dead isn't lumped in with that one, because I actually do enjoy Land of the Dead quite a bit.
I had issues with Land of the Dead when I first saw it, but I've been able to enjoy it in later years. As long as you don't expect it to be the original trilogy, and just accept it being really over the top and goofy, it's a lot of fun.
To be fair, Dawn of the Dead was really over the top and goofy.
So was Day of the Dead. They're actually all pretty... Well,
I'd say Land of the Dead is a different kind of goofy, though.
Yeah. I guess. I think that has more to do with the context of it being the 70s and Land of the Dead being modern.
You just don't like John Leguizamo, do you? Do you?
They call me Motown.
Zombies, man. They creep me out.
I'm still mad we never got a sequel of Pillsbury just destroying zombies left and right.
With his stolen car.
We need more badass Samoans wrecking shit.
They're Americans, too. Despite what you say, MB.
Can't even defend himself.
What the fuck,
Show
MB?
Show me. Okay, show me.
MB turns into a birther.
Certificate of Doughboy.
But one of my most favorite things about Halloween TV specials. Just, I don't know about you guys, but I live for them. Like the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, or like, did you guys ever see the Boy Meets World Halloween episodes? Oh, fantastic.
Is that the one where they're...
Go ahead.
Is it the one where they're trapped in the school with a serial killer?
Yes.
I love that
vaguely remembering that now.
One of my favorite jokes from that one. The lights go off, lights come back on, and one of the students is impaled to a wall by a pencil through his head. And Corey goes over and he's like, we'll always know exactly how tall he was when he died. As he falls down and draws the line right across the wall. It's fantastic.
It's Will Friedle's finest performance. And yes, I'm counting Batman Beyond.
Did you guys remember the Family Matters Halloween special with Stevel and Carlsbad, the evil breakdancing puppets?
Oh god, yes, now that you remind me.
I watched a YouTube clip of that last year, and it was like a fucking acid flashback.
Speaking of flashbacks, I feel like we need to just start watching a bunch of Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps for the month.
Yes.
Just like pound right back into childhood.
What do you mean start? We've been watching Goosebumps for like months now.
What? You guys
Well, they
did?
just add a bunch more, so now we can go through the entire series.
All the episodes with Ryan Gosling.
Is Goosebumps actually on Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah. They just
Oh.
added
They split
all
up
of
the
these.
entire series.
Oh, nice.
Except for the haunted mask, which is bullshit.
It's too frightening.
that was
for
weird.
kids. I feel like I actually want to track down some of the books and reread them, because I imagine it'd take me like 10 minutes to go through them.
Yeah, they're all 50 pages long.
They're all
I've been
up.
tempted to read R.L. Stein's adult horror books, but I don't know if I want that guy explaining to me the nature of fear.
I saw one of
Yes,
those
you
in a
do.
Barnes & Noble, and I couldn't believe him. Like, he's still going? Oh, good for him.
And he was old when we were kids. Remember the introductions he used to give to Goosebumps?
Yes.
I'm R.L. Stein. I write the Goosebumps books.
He always reminded me of the Bush's Baked Beans guy.
He did.
Yeah.
He's got that Stephen King quality where he looks like the absolute last person you'd expect to write horror. He looks like he should be selling insurance somewhere.
Also, he needs better briefcases, because those things just fucking fall open. It's ridiculous.
Paper everywhere.
And then it just corrupts the entire city. Dog's eyes glow, hair is depoofed.
This
Don't
was
even get me
actually...
started on that house that drips Goosebumps goo.
This is a brilliant idea, because now on Tumblr we can take this Goosebumps, and we'll probably get like 1,000 likes. It'll be great.
That is true.
Nostalgia likes.
We should have mentioned
Also,
Goosebumps at the
about
start of
Tumblr
this talk.
The funny thing is, Goosebumps, you watch it today and it's pretty corny. I've watched the Teen Nick Are You Afraid of the Dark marathons they do every Halloween. That show still holds up.
Still pretty creepy, yeah.
I'm still scared shitless of Professor Vink. It's with a va. I'm just remembering Are You Afraid of the Dark now.
Yeah.
Yep,
kinda.
yep. I'm trying to
Remember the
remember my
haunted
favorite
cabin?
episode. Oh, yep. That might have been my favorite episode.
Still freaked out by the memory of the episode where the aliens try to kidnap that teenage girl, and at the very end she realizes she's one of them.
Yep.
And he just looks to her side and she has no face. That's still... Ugh. Just the image that was in... that they used for the outro, that was just the still image of all the faceless aliens reaching towards the camera.
I'm scared now.
Yeah. Yep. I've got the Goosebumps theme stuck in my head and I'm still scared.
Remember the clown episode? Why did he take his nose?
Oh god, why? He shouldn't have done it.
Don't answer the phone, it's Billy Baxter.
Damn it, Nickelodeon, you need to release these. I feel like
They're
Ronald
being
Reagan. Tear down this wall.
Here's the thing. You need to release them, but release them with misleading covers, so Flexo will buy them all and only realize that it's the MTV remakes of them.
Package them as Goosebumps.
Yeah, back to the Goosebumps. Flexo will buy them. They'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it'll back
Reverse
balance.
trolling.
Yeah. God, speaking of, I'm pretty sure the Children of the Corn remake was like an MTV product, but apparently
was
they're...
It was sci-fi.
Oh, was it? Okay. Well, this ruins my segue.
Same
but
diff at this
I'm
point.
still going with it. Apparently, MTV is developing a Scream TV show, which
I don't
blows
even get
my
how that's gonna
mind.
work.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it take them all season to figure out who the killer is?
Like, is Ghostface gonna be sexy and ripped?
Yes, I will.
Are people on
watch
Tumblr
that.
gonna be
That's fascinating.
shipping them?
Well, they probably will anyways. Oh god, okay. I'm gonna go on Tumblr right now. And
This
we're
is
gonna
a
see.
box office pulp Tumblr intermission.
This is an experiment, is what this is. Okay.
I'll flex those searches. Oh god, that was quick.
Go space and shipping. Is that what the kids use for the tag?
Yeah,
I don't.
That's what us
I would
crazy
assume.
Tumblr youth do.
Oh, Tumblr, you've let me down. There are no disgusting, horrible, frightening posts of inappropriate sexual relationships.
Go to DeviantArt.
Also,
Yeah,
you
guarantee
can't
you
search
can
multiple
something
tags.
there.
All right, hold on.
Just type in "I ship Ghostface" and see what pops up.
Into Google or?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of responses about the Ghostface killer, but just his lyrics.
Go on.
Okay, I'm gonna
I
search
ship
this in quotes just in case that makes a difference.
Tony Stark himself.
God, I'm probably on some sort of watch list now for typing. No results found for I ship Ghostface. Internet, you know what you must do.
We're starting it.
Let's write Scream/fiction and put it on image search.
I'm gonna
I know
try.
what we're doing on the box office poll page.
Oh, sexy Ghostface.
Oh, there is Scream fan. Oh, well, it's fan fiction. I'm not sure how.
All fan fiction becomes /fiction after enough chapters.
That's kind of what I expected. Also, it's a slasher film, so the slash fiction becomes confusing.
Damn your lingo, internet.
Oh, maybe I'll read this one. Bookmark.
The important thing is, in these fan continuities, do Cindy and Deputy Dewey get it on?
I imagine there has to be fan fiction about Kirby surviving Scream 4. If not, I should write it.
It has to be.
God damn it. Give us Scream 5, Wes. You promised.
Just ignore Harvey Weinstein. I almost said Harvey Firestein. Which would be fascinating if he was somehow blocking Scream 5.
He's in charge of the company now.
Dear Harvey Firestein.
See, Harvey Firestein would be okay with the Revenge of the Nerds remake. I like these kids.
So, got really creepy really fast.
I know. We gotta get out of here somehow.
But
We have to get out of Tumblr before it's too late.
It's too
what are
late.
your Halloween movie traditions?
I don't know. Do you guys ever do like haunted houses or anything like that? Do you get into like all the you go to Walmart, buy all the candy, buy all the cobwebs, the little singing witches that stir the brew, all that kind of stuff?
That was oddly specific.
That was my favorite Halloween thing as a kid. You turn it on, it makes the
I just decorate and watch my usual movies. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I
And
went
don't leave the
on.
house.
I actually went on a haunted hayride once, like 2 or 3 years ago,
Mhm.
because relatives were hyping it up like, no, you gotta go on this haunted hayride. If you go on any haunted hayride this October 31st, make it this one.
I actually worked
So-
one of those once.
I may have seen you.
I made 3-year-old cry. I'll explain
Okay,
after you
okay.
tell your story.
But again, there might be some crossing over. So we go on the hayride and nothing happens. And the guy who's like leading us down this haunted trail is like just at the end of his rope. Like he's vamped for 10 minutes at this point. Like, he's running out of ad libs. He's like the old man from Pet Cemetery if he just completely ran out of steam.
Sometimes
Like,
dead is better.
There's a lot of history on that road. Yeah.
Serial
I
killer
wouldn't go
wants to
down
get
there
us
if I were you. Yeah. A lot of history. So, after it keeps going and nobody shows up, he has to get on his cell phone and call the monsters and tell them to come out. Which I think has to be very surreal for like the 4-year-olds that are in the back of the truck. It's like, is this how it works? It's Like, whenever I watch Halloween later on, am I going to imagine that Loomis is, like, on the phone with Michael Myers, like, okay, I want you to show up at the house at 4:30. I'm going to give them a good scare.
You don't know what death is. He hangs up.
Be prepared, I'm going to shoot you 6 times. No, I know we discussed 5. 6 times!
Don't
I'll
talk
shoot
you,
you
Michael.
6 times.
You never shut up.
Just breathing argumentatively. But, after he calls the monsters to get their lazy asses up, we turn a corner, and then all of them just pop out at once. There's like 5 or 6 of them, and one of them trips immediately and falls on his face like he's the Shockmaster.
I was gonna say the Shockmaster.
Were they playing funny music in the background?
They should have been.
Like something from Scooby-Doo?
And like they were like all really unenthusiastic about it. They're like, let me finish this cigarette. Monster.
Nice. That sounds amazing.
They got $50 that night.
It was the greatest haunted hayride ever.
Flexo, how'd you make a little girl cry?
So for mine...
Tell us the Halloween story now.
Alright, basically for mine, it was a volunteer thing. They brought out a bunch of people, dressed us up as monsters. We all wore like 3 different costumes because there weren't many of us there. So you'd have to like... This was actually at a cornfield. So you'd like run behind the corn rows, change costumes quick, run out, scare them again, go back, change again. Scare them like 3 different times as they made their path. So, at one point we got scared of just jumping out and going booga booga at people. So we started working on more elaborate scares. And I think my favorite was, we had one kid run out in front of the tractor just screaming for help as loud as he could. And we covered him with fake blood. And then, as the tractor passes them, I run in from the other side, hit the kid in a flying tackle, knock him into the cornfield, and just start stabbing him with a fake knife. And they make a turn so they can see the kid like laying in the cornfield later, just kind of like dead, covered in blood. The only thing is, this is a haunted corn ride with like 10 kids on it that are all around the age of 5.
This is hardcore.
For them it was. A lot of them started crying. Didn't make me stop.
Does it ever make you stop, Flexo?
Never.
The bad thing is you're not even getting paid for this. You're doing it for pleasure.
Yep. No money was involved.
Yeah, I had a similar experience taking my nephew to a haunted house a couple of years back when he was about 5. And for the entire like haunted house, it was perfectly like G-rated haunted house stuff that you could take a 5-year-old to.
Mm-hmm.
Then like right as we're about to leave, like there's just this 12-year-old girl dressed in like funereal clothes standing there holding this vaguely human-shaped lump in her hands. And when we walk by, she just reaches her hands out and says, "Do you want to hold my baby?" And like as she pulls it out, like it's limp, so you can see it's clearly meant to be a dead baby that may or may not have been mutilated at some point. And as soon as we pass by there, my nephew looks at me and says, "I think I'm going to throw up."
Excellent. So
that's what Halloween's all about.
Was this like the anti-abortion haunted house, or?
I don't know. I just remember I said that to my sister as we were leaving. What was with the little girl with a dead baby? It seemed that was not keeping in the rest of the spirit of the haunted house. Like, did we wander into another yard and end up in one of those crazy Christian hell houses where they tell you about the dangers of unprotected sex and divorce?
Kids gotta grow up sometime, man.
And then, as you walked away from that little girl, Flexo came running out, tackled the little girl, and began stabbing her.
With the baby.
Yeah.
It was a very sharp baby.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to whittle him first.
And all the 5-year-olds cried.
God. One time, it was Halloween. We were trick-or-treating. My mom was driving us home for the night. And for whatever reason, she pulled into the neighbor's house. Like, I don't know if she'd planned it with the neighbors or if she legitimately had to turn around for something. But she pulled into the neighbor's house, and all of them had been waiting there. Like, we're miles outside of the city limits, so there's no one who drives out there on purpose during Halloween. And these guys were all waiting in, like, full ghillie suits, like, just covered head to toe in mud and leaves and branches and sticks, waiting for cars to go by, and they would just jump out and attack the cars. Like, they would jump on top of the cars and stick their hands through the windows and try and grab people and just freak them out. One of my favorite Halloween memories, just having all those people jump on the car and scare the shit out of me.
You've mistrusted strangers ever since.
Well, I mean, they are generally untrustworthy.
You blocked out the rape, thankfully.
They were going for it. They were, like, on the trunk. They were reaching their arms in.
Was it the T-1000 where they're just chasing after you robotically?
They know where we live.
For me, like, the strongest memory of trick-or-treating as a kid was going through my grandmother's neighborhood, which is like this mainly a straight shot with a few curves to it, but seemingly goes on forever. And every year it was this gauntlet to get to the dead end at the very end. And some years we made it, and some years we didn't. Like, that was our yearly, like, decathlon for candy. And there were, like, great stretches where there were no houses. So, like, we would have to keep our eyes on the prize. And eventually we would get halfway and be like, do we really want to go this far just for more candy? Do we want to be greedy? And we're like 7 years old having this conversation amongst ourselves while the adults smoke in the back. Because they had cars that we couldn't drive in. And, I was very disappointed last year because it was the first year I did not participate in trick-or-treating in any capacity, not as a trick-or-treater or a chaperone. So I just stayed at home and watched trick-or-treat.
Oh, you got to...
Which is a poor substitute.
You got to be involved in the actual trick-or-treating up until last year? Lucky.
I know.
Yeah, I haven't gone since I was like 13. Makes me feel like an old man.
Yeah, it's the same experience you get whenever you're an adult and you're in a house with children during Christmas. And you're like, holy shit, I remember this used to be awesome. Come here, child, let me feed on your joy. Ah.
Oh, take it all in.
Oh. And that's in relation to children.
Hey, you're the one who made the connection.
Flex Max.
MB's the one who's acting weird.
This year, we moved into this neighborhood last year. We got a lot of kids trick-or-treating. So I'm going to put a bench out front. We have like a tree that I hang something from. I'm going to dress up in something. I haven't quite decided, but stuff, straw and things in my sleeves. So it looks like I'm just a scarecrow sitting on the bench. And the kids will walk to the door. Then while their backs are turned, I'll stand up. Walk directly behind them and just stare at them, waiting for them to turn around. And the fear on their faces will be utter delight.
What kind of neighborhood do you live in, though? Because there is a possibility that you could get stabbed.
Oh, there is, but...
You've seen that video of the guy punching the scarecrow.
Oh, I'll bring a gun.
Damn it, Mike was gonna die the way he lived, having a good time.
As a scarecrow.
Scaring kids.
Why don't you just be the scarecrow?
I don't want to, goddammit.
Then
I want to utilize my gas mask if at all possible.
You should just get a black
handing
morph
out
suit.
to kids,
They're
like,
fantastic.
You want to see my mask?
Wow.
You put it on and gas them. Oh.
This has all gone very oddly pedophilic.
Yeah, I know. I want to get away from
I
it.
just want to make little girls cry. Wait, no.
So my
It's
friend,
getting worse.
my friend had a black morph suit. He would just hide around in places. Really skinny, so he could get into like little cracks in apartments and stuff, and just pop out when you wouldn't expect him. So we would like watch Scream 1, 2, and 3 back to back to back. Get the people who are really afraid of these kind of things up front, and then have Paul sneak in next to them. He's like a living shadow when he's in that suit.
Living shadow.
We had him sneak into a guy's room one time. Like, we opened the door quick, turned the lights off, and he ran in. And he hid in the room for like a half hour, and then was in the guy's bed when he went to bed. And he was like, "What the hell?" Oh, it was great. If you've never had the experience of sneaking a friend into someone else's bed to scare them, you should try it.
Did the other person at least know this friend? Because
Oh,
I
yeah,
think if you
yeah.
sneak a stranger into somebody's room, at that point it's just some kind of crime.
Yeah, we actually snuck Paul into our room. We had a 4-person room, and we snuck Paul in it and put him into the other person's bed. So the 3 of us were all just kind of waiting for him to freak Will out.
You were in the turn of the century flop house, like 4 cots side by side.
It was the overflow room at my college dorm. It's twice the size of a normal dorm, and they just cram 4 people in.
I used to dress up like Jason and then wait around the corner of the house, and when the trick-or-treaters come up, I just start slowly walking around it towards the kids. But I only did it a couple times because the parents were not fans of me.
Most parents aren't fans of you, Mike. You're a
They
bad
didn't
influence.
say anything. They just gave me really dirty looks for scaring their children.
Well, maybe they shouldn't be.
Because I would only do it for like, the 4 to like 7-year-olds. Anybody older than that is like, it doesn't work.
And the closest thing we ever did to participating in the scaring of children whenever we were handing out candy was one year my mom insisted on us having horror movies playing in a loop for the entire night. The thing is, we ran out of horror movies pretty quickly because we didn't have that many on VHS, so we just ended up putting in Twilight Zone, the movie.
Well, that counts.
So at one point, I'm handing out candy while Jennifer Jason Leigh's dad is talking about the goddamn Jews and Arabs.
Oh, no.
Like, hey kids, trick or treat. I'm American, does that mean anything anymore? It's because of the blacks, it's because of the fucking Orientals. And I just gotta look at them like, yeah, Cousin Lou's over again.
Oh, man.
And then the Klan scene came up, and that was fun. Those are the real monsters, kids.
I honestly don't think I can top that story. And we actually go out with a moral, so...
The Klan is the real enemy.
I think that's what we're trying to get at with this whole podcast about Halloween.
Now,
Box Office Pulp doesn't recommend.
Dressing like a pointy-headed ghost.
of course, recommends horror movies.
In the end, white supremacists are the real Draculas.
And they never win. Anyways, it's been a freight. From Box Office Pulp, we wish you a happy Halloween from the dripping marrow of our bones. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, make sure to check out the other fine podcasts on the Pulp Network. We've got Pulp Nightmare, hosted by Mike and MB. We've got Off Panel, if you want to consider that a Pulp product.
You're gonna die up there.
This is freaking me out now. I don't like this anymore. I'm scared. And Below the Bible Belt, hosted by James.
Ooh, Imaginary.
All over your face.
Oh no. If you want more of this, you can find us on Facebook, and we're also on Tumblr, so make sure to find us, leave messages. We'll take whatever.
And
Anyways.
subscribe to us on iTunes.
You could be our fan of the week, and it'd only be a little creepy.
Yeah.
We love you, E. Ripley.
So much.
Well, we just lost a fucking listener.
Wow.
God.
We have such sights to show you.
Tumblr sites.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Anyways, I think that's a wrap, everybody. Good night.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And like that,
Unpleasant nightmares.
Never do that.
Please.
Thanks for the ride, lady.
Peace.
Fuck. Alright.